Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Howard Company's Branding, Signage, and Technology podcast. Today we have a new episode with Grant and Nick. Before we jump right in, just want to have them introduce themselves, what they do at the Howard Company. Grant, you want to go first?
Grant Guske. I've been with the Howard Company for 14 years. I'm the Regional Vice President of Sales, and I handle the West Coast.
And I'm Nick. I'm the installation manager with the Howard Company, and I handle all the installations that the Howard Company does. Or whatever Grant sells, we put in.
So today we're talking about the science of drive-through stacking. I know that it's one video you did a few years back that has drew a lot of interest. So I kind of want to expand on it, have a little conversation about it, both from the sales perspective, but also the install perspective. So to start, what is drive-through stacking and why is it important?
So drive-through stacking is the number of cars that you can have in a drive-through from the point of pickup to the order point, and it really affects the through flow of the restaurant.
And when you consider drive-through stacking, at what point in the installation process, the drive-through planning, does it really come into play, and how do you plan for it?
Well, I think it's important that it's a very early step in the process of the restaurant itself, because there's a lot of codes and planning commissions and everything that will determine whether or not you can actually have a drive-through in a certain area, whether the traffic patterns won't be affected and everything like that. And a lot of times it'll go through a lot of commissions and permitting processes and everything like that. So it really has to be one of the first things if you're building
It should be a first discussion with the municipality where the restaurant is going in, because every municipality is different.
Yep.
Some of them don't care as much, and some of them, specifically like Clark County, Nevada,
Yes.
they are very particular on what they need before you can even start the process of looking at a drive-through.
So how does the conversation change, though, if it's an existing building, existing restaurant, and just making sure that the stacking is correct before they open and build some more?
Well, and Grant probably knows this better than anybody, but I know if somebody's looking at an existing place, having a place with a drive-through already, like a bank or anything with a drive-through, and they want to turn it into a restaurant, that's going to be probably the easiest way
For sure.
to start the process, because it was already approved at one point. So I think it makes it a lot easier to go through that process if there's an existing drive-through lane there.
Yeah.
There's really two kinds of people that come to us for help when it comes to stacking the drive-through. My position, I deal with a lot of the regional chain business, and they have a process pretty much in place where their construction department knows exactly what the location will need, and they pass along all the information, and it makes it super easy. Where we get a little bit difficult is when a smaller restaurant that's never done it before goes into a place that doesn't have a drive-through, or a location that wants to add a drive-through. Those are where it gets a little tricky, where as a salesperson, I get our engineering and our install team involved early, because we can actually help them design it if they get us involved early enough. And we can get with the architect, and we can get exactly the best scenario.
What percentage of new builds would you say know about stacking versus like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta now, incorporate that?
I would say it's an education process for people that have never done a drive-through before, and the fact that we can handle every aspect of the drive-through and talk through like an expert what the best scenario is for what they're looking to do. We can definitely help with that. Our sales team has centuries of experience when it comes to helping customers get exactly what they want their restaurant to look like. So we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
We've helped set up restaurants that had a single car stack because it was a coffee shop and they just were moving people through. But then we also have places that have a larger stack because they want to get people in the line because once they get the order in, it takes a little longer to get the food going, so they need that stack to be quick.
Yeah.
So it depends each time. From one location to the next, if it's the same brand, same restaurant, is it ideal that each location as they scale has the exact same stacking pattern, or is it all going to be different depending on?
I think it's pretty much site specific, and it all depends. If it's in like a strip mall location and they're a corner, they got the corner spot, it could be different, but it all just depends on your traffic patterns, how they can enter and exit the drive-through. If there's space, are pedestrians going to be affected by this drive-through lane?
Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff that's all involved, and that's why it's important that they need to contact their county or their city to figure out what is
allowed.
What's the minimum, what's allowed, what's not allowed.
Yeah.
Especially now with digital, the digital light restrictions and things like that. Each community is different. So, and the bureaucrats need their money as well. So,
That's right.
Is there a strategy or rule of the amount of space from the entrance to the restaurant to the ordering point, so that people are like, oh well, now I have to consider stacking, I need to allow that much room, oh I might start the drive-through earlier on, but then there's a problem with traffic? And
again, it's all site specific.
Yep.
Okay.
And every time I get a question about placement of the drive-through equipment, it's different. And every time that I get the engineers involved and they suggest the perfect placement, it's usually not where I would suggest it. So it really comes down to what the goal of that restaurant is. If it's, like I said, the ideal situation is on a straight drive-through, no curve, and you want 5 cars from the order point to the window. That is perfect. However, perfect doesn't exist in the real world.
Yeah. Is the menu board ideally tilted or straight on with the car?
Again, it depends on the site, but if it's a straight drive-through, the ideal situation would have the speaker and mic ideally right on the curb, and the menu board at a 45-degree angle off the curb about 4 feet. That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, real estate dictates.
Yeah. So with the stacking space, how does that, so some companies don't see it as, lost real estate. Is there a way to double that space as an opportunity for additional branding, ways to really sell the customer, even though they've already ordered? How can they keep customers engaged from the menu board to the pickup window?
So I like saying that's the best place to advertise the things that you want your customers to know about, because they're stuck.
Yeah.
They're waiting for their
Forced
food.
to watch that.
Forced to watch it, so they're waiting for their food. They're probably on their phones. So it gives a great opportunity for marketing to reach out to them either with a digital message on the building as they're waiting, or a static message that can change monthly or whatever they would want. So we like to include any kind of advertising or outdoor posters in the stacking that could include catering, could include delivery, it could include apps,
Rewards, upcoming specials, everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the best place to advertise, because they're there and they can't go anywhere.
So just looking at the drive-through overall, aside from stacking, I guess, Grant, from your perspective, what is another drive-through strategy that is either undervalued, needs more recognition? And then I guess, Nick, from your perspective, what's an install procedure that needs more recognition?
So for products in the drive-through, I think right now the one that is really a focus is the order confirmation embedded in a digital screen. So you can have advertising at the speaker post that then turns into the order confirmation. And it really depends on the POS as to, there's a lot of POS companies out there and a lot of integrators out there. But we've got a lot of experience with the order confirmation, and it really helps with speed of service as well, because the customer doesn't have to look in the bag and make sure everything that they ordered was there, because everything they ordered was on the screen.
Yeah.
As far as installation goes, I think one thing that gets lost a lot of times is if a site has an existing or is renovating an existing restaurant that has a menu board or whatever, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to go from static to digital, or to have a canopy in a certain spot, because all of it depends on what type of foundation you have to begin with. And it's very hard to get an accurate record of what an old foundation was. Our stuff, all the products that the Howard Company provides, it all has specific foundation depths and sizes and everything like that, depending on the fixture itself. And it costs a ton of money to send people out to try to determine the existing depth of a foundation and the size of it, and if there's rebar in it and everything like that. So it's just something that somebody needs to consider. There's going to be a lot of questions that need to be answered if you want to put certain types of fixtures on an existing spot. It's not always going to work, and you may end up having to install a brand new foundation right next to the old one because it's just not suitable for that stuff. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things that need to be looked at and remembered when they're looking into the whole thing of a drive-through,
Okay. So with these podcasts, we always end with a fun question, get to know our team type question. So
Scary.
So both of you are sports fans. I heard, Nick, you're a quite serious pickleballer.
I have pickleball in the past. Yes.
So the question I have is, what's the coolest sporting event you've ever attended? And then what's one sporting event that you really want to attend?
Well, the want to attend is easy for me. That's the Masters.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Vikings Super Bowl. We know that's not going to happen. But
That's hurtful.
I'm sorry. I thought that's where you were going.
That's hurtful.
I'm sorry.
But to that fact, the best sporting event I've been to is going to the Vikings in their new stadium with my son, who I've brainwashed to be a Viking fan as well, and my wife, who's a Packer fan but wore Viking stuff into the building. So it was a great experience that I can say I did and don't have to do again. Unless it's Super Bowl. A home Super Bowl Viking victory.
I think you'll be waiting a while on that.
Yeah, I'll be dead.
Yeah. I think my best sporting experience was probably, this was many years ago when the Milwaukee Bucks they were in the playoffs, and they were in the Eastern Conference Finals. And it was just an incredible game, and it was the loudest game I've ever been to. Granted, we were in the nosebleeds, so I think a lot of that sound was like coming down from the roof.
Ceiling.
But it was the loudest thing I've ever been to. After a free throw was made or whatever, it was craziness. I really enjoyed that. And I think the sporting event I would love to go to is maybe a Brewers championship.
That would mind that
this
either.
year.
You might wait for that too.
Yeah, that's probably. I probably will, but
You might get some home games this year.
maybe.
But I've been to the Masters, so that's probably the coolest one I've been to. And then
Did you go this last year?
I went
Rory won?
2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
I went for the Wednesday practice round with the par 3 contest. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But just how the whole operations is. It's like Disney on Sports World. Like, they have attendants in the bathroom helping you. It's crazy. The food is good and cheap.
What?
with Maskers soap and
Oh,
towels. Yeah.
gotcha.
But then I'd say the one sporting event I would like to see, probably the Olympics at some point. Maybe like track and field or...
Well, they're coming
Los
to what?
Angeles?
Yeah.
Los Angeles, pretty close.
Yeah, 2028. Well, thank you for joining me. You know, it's nice to have these conversations about the science and the strategies behind drive-thru, because I think a lot of operators might think that, hey, it's a menu board, just have the space for a drive-thru, and don't really think a lot about these details that go into it. So thanks for putting your input, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.